The silhouette piece is real. Or at least it was before. It might be coming to an end with the official design of Nerona Imu, the most hyped silhouette reveal in One Piece history. Joy Boy and Lily are basically the only ones we got left now. So I thought, why not rank every single silhouette reveal in One Piece history? Which ones got us the most hyped, and which ones made us want to laser our One Piece tattoos away? I'll save that one guy for last, so make sure to stick around. But how exactly am I actually ranking these? It's a balancing act between two things: accuracy and design quality. Ideally, a silhouette should be a perfect teaser for what's coming. But we all know Oda, he likes to change his mind. So if a silhouette is way off, it's going to need a top tier character design to save it. But if the silhouette was misleading and the final design was mid, that's an express ticket right to F tier. I won't go in chronological order throughout the entire video, but why not start with the earliest silhouette I could think of? I'm of course talking about the 7 Warlords of the Sea as they were shown when Yosako first told us about them. I can't help but laugh at these. I really don't understand what Oda was thinking here. Surely he must have realized that the Warlords would have completely different designs. These guys don't look like the legendary pirates that balance the entire world. They look like random goons you fight before reaching the real pirate. The silhouettes didn't look remotely like any of them, and it failed to build any real hype. You all might disagree, but I gotta put this in F tier. We're off to a bad start. But next up is the man who kept us guessing for over 15 years, Dr. Vegapunk. For the longest time, the only point of reference we had for him was this tall, looming silhouette in a lab coat that looked really menacing, like a cold, calculating genius hidden away in a government bunker somewhere. Then, when we finally reached Egghead, the hype was absolute. First, Oda tried to trick us that Vegapunk had been a woman all along, but even my gullible ass saw right through that. Oda, we know you at this point. You ain't gonna make the smartest person in your story a woman. Then for the big reveal, we got this.
Oh my god, bro. Hell.
Then we got a second reveal, and now he's just Albert Einstein.
Oh my god, it's Albert Einstein!
With 99% of his head being chopped off. To be fair, the design fits his personality perfectly. He's a quirky, obsessed scientist, not a world-conquering villain. It makes sense for who he is, but I can't lie. After waiting since what feels like 1942 to see this guy, the reveal felt a bit like getting a scratch card and winning nothing. The design is good, but the hype to payload ratio was off for me. I'm putting Vegapunk in C tier. Let's talk about a character who actually understood the assignment, Sir Crocodile. For me, this is almost a masterclass in how to handle a reveal. What makes Crocodile different is that Oda didn't just give us a generic black blob, like he did for so many others. When Crocodile is talking to Sanji on the Den Mushi as Mr. Zero, we get this partial, shadowed profile. We could see the jewelry and wicked grin. It wasn't a total mystery, but you couldn't quite see the full picture yet. And if I'm being honest, that's way more menacing than just a pitch black character. It made him feel like a real person hiding in the dark, rather than a concept Oda hadn't finished drawing yet. And then when the payoff comes, we get arguably one of the top 3 villain designs in the entire series. The only reason I'm putting him in A tier and not S tier is because of the lack of hype. The reveal was good, but I don't think anyone reading was going nuts about it. Next up is Admiral Ryukogyu. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong, so I'm just gonna call him Greenbull. And man, this one was just weird. For a long time, all we had of Greenbull was this total black blob sitting in a lawn chair next to Fujitora. In the anime, it looked even worse, just this flickering void of a man. But when he finally made his move on Wano, the silhouette was actually pretty honest, by Oda standards at least. The design itself is actually really cool too. The giant forest god was a fresh take for an admiral. However, we can't talk about his reveal without talking about the Wi-Fi incident. He looked like a beast for 5 minutes against King and Queen, but then he got absolutely cooked by Shanks' Wi-Fi haki from 3 miles away. It's hard to put him in the top tier when his big debut ended with him twerking in fear for a 5G haki signal. The design is a win, but he still hasn't recovered from that aura loss. He might never do. For that, he lands in B tier. If you don't want to become a pitch black silhouette, make sure to like and subscribe. If you do, I'll make sure that never happens to you. Rayleigh wasn't really a silhouette, but it's fun to compare his first design to what we got later. If you mention that he first appeared in Orange Town to casual fans, they will look at you as if you just scored 65 on an IQ test and go, yeah, sure buddy, but it's the truth. He showed up in Buggy's flashback, and let's just say this version of him didn't have the same swagger.
No.
He looks less like a world-class hockey user and more like the drummer from an indie rock band. But his second introduction made up for it. Rayleigh literally let himself be captured just so he could rob the person who bought him as a slave. And then the moment Kami is brought up onto the auction block, he just casually leaks a burst of Conqueror's Haki to knock out Disco and the guards. That transition from random guy in a flashback who thought devil fruits were a myth to absolute goat of the old gen is one of the most satisfying glow-ups in the story. I'ma give him an A just for that. Next up, we have the numbers. You know that group of ancient giants in the Beast Pirates? When these guys were first teased as silhouettes during the Wano entrance, they looked scary as hell. Extremely big, jagged, demonic shapes looming in the background. I really thought they were going to be a problem for the Alliance. Got me thinking back to the Oars fight. Then they actually stepped out of the shadows and well, they were just a bunch of hyper colorful, borderline glowing neon goofs that did absolutely nothing. Like just look at these colors. They are so bright I'm getting blinded. Why even bother giving them menacing silhouettes if they were just going to be some fodder giants? They posed no threat and were basically just target practice for the Straw Hats. For the massive gap between that terrifying tease and the actual goofy reality, I'ma put these guys in D tier. Next, we got the twin of all twins. He's my twin, he's your twin, and he's Shank's twin. Shamrock, the twin. With the power of retrospect, we know we saw him speaking with the Gorosei. Or was it really him? Anyhow, then we got to the world famous "It all depends on who finds the One Piece" panel. At first glance, I saw a bunch of familiar faces. Al Capone, I know him. Lil Uzi Vert, I know him. But wait, who in the flip is this? It had me really hyped to find out who this mysterious swordsman was, since he was included along all these legends. And when we did in Elbaf, let me tell you, he just spawned in the coldest way possible. And look at that design. Look at his sword. Just immediate S tier. We have to talk about Oden, who might genuinely be the most outrageous victim of silhouette syndrome in the entire series. Oda used the black fill tool on this man's character model for at least 15 different panels. It reached a point where it wasn't even mysterious anymore. It was just bizarre. You'd have a scene where every other character is drawn with perfect detail, while Oden is just standing there looking like a locked character in a fighting game. To be fair, when the lights finally came on, the silhouette was very accurate. But the sheer frequency of these shadows turned the hype into a comedy routine. This shit was more frustrating than rewarding. He's landing in D tier. Moving on to the only female on this list, Big Mom. And her silhouette journey was actually pretty consistent. When Gorb first mentioned the Emperors, her design looked a little goofy, like a generic witch from a storybook. But it wasn't a total lie. It gave us the rough idea of a massive, terrifying woman. And Oda definitely stuck with that idea. The real hype though came during that conversation with Luffy at the end of Fishman Island. Seeing her drooling, looming in the darkness of Whole Cake Island, she looked like a complete uncontrollable monster. B tier stands for Big Mom. But Big Mom wasn't the only silhouette shown that day. We also got our first look at the king of the beasts, Kaido. He looks less like the strongest creature in the world and more like a random bandit leader from Windmill Village. No horns or anything, just a square jaw and a weirdly flat nose. I'm glad Oda didn't stick with this design, cause yeah, just look at this. The best part is that Sanji still thinks he looks like this. Fortunately, his actual introduction at the end of Dressrosa saved him. Jumping off a sky island just to see if he could die is one of the hardest entries in manga history. I'll admit, the whole "my hobby is suicide" thing is kinda corny. If you really want to end it, just jump in the ocean and you ain't coming back up. His silhouette was comedically bad, but the reveal was legendary, so it evens out in C tier. We're moving into the top 3 most iconic silhouettes, and first up is Loki. I can't really put my finger on what his silhouette even looks like. Maybe a weird concept idea for a Burger King mascot, or my sleep paralysis demon. There's no way Oda actually envisioned him looking like this. I hope he just wanted to play it safe. This has to be the biggest gap between the silhouette and the actual design. When Elbaf actually started, Oda dropped one of the hardest character designs I've ever seen in my life. I remember staring in complete awe the first time I saw him, and telling my friends it's the best character design I ever saw. It's the ultimate proof that Oda can draw a total nonsense shadow and still deliver a design that instantly becomes an all-time favorite. I can't quite give it S tier since it was so off. A tier will have to do. You probably already figured that number 2 is Rock. That's the wrong Rock. There we have him. Rock's Disabek had the whole fandom eagerly waiting for his design to be revealed. And unlike Loki, his silhouette gave a promise of greatness. He looked like a madman, like a psychopathic pirate emperor. If Loki's silhouette lowered our expectations, Rock's shot them over the red line. And then, his design and character perfectly lived up to the hype. He became an absolute fan favorite in a matter of chapters, which is something we've almost never seen before in the story. Usually, it takes at least half an arc to fall in love with a character, but Sebek walked onto the page and instantly owned the series. He's the absolute definition of S tier, a perfect silhouette that promised a monster, followed by a perfect design that actually delivered one. Oh my god, finally I get to talk about Imu. I'm literally shaking with excitement. I'm so ready to glaze this guy. Just look at him, he's so perfect. I held Blackbeard in a high regard before, but throw him in the bin. All I want is Nerona Imu, bro. Make him the final villain. You know, the Buster calls weren't that bad. Just a misunderstood fireworks display. The God Valley hunting thing was kinda cool when you think about it. I mean, how can you be mad at this handsome young man? Is he a Lunarian? Or maybe a new ancient race? I don't know. But I do know that most of the people hating on this design are just hating for the sake of hating. Or they might just be down bad and wanted a goth mommy. I have to admit, at first I wanted it to be an alt baddie as well. I know I'm corny, but this guy just mogs everything I had in mind. And as for his silhouette, was it even a silhouette? He seemed to transform out of it. I like that. It's a creative way for Oda to get out of the bad shadow allegations. What are you talking about? That was just his outer shell all along. So, you can't drag him down for inaccuracy. Nerona Imu goes straight into S tier as well. Thank you so much for watching and let me know in the comments where you disagree with me. I got a tip from a really reliable source that you're gonna love this video.